Okay, so I've had a few requests to see my craft area, so I thought I would just shoot a quick video kind of showing how I have everything set up. I do not have a dedicated room for crafting because I have a very I live in a cottage style house, which I love, but it has limited rooms. So I have enough bedrooms for my husband and myself and then my two children. So I share my space with the master bedroom. So this is kind of the separate area that I specifically keep for my crafting. It ends at the Alex drawers there on the left, and then past that is the dresser, TV, and stuff like that. And directly kind of behind where I'm filming this from is my bed and everything like that, and our like end tables and all that type of stuff. So even though I have to share the same space, I try and keep this as separated as possible so that kind of one side is the craft area and contained in this corner, and then one side is the bedroom. So this area that I've just kind of scanned across is my whole entire craft area. And I guess I can just kind of go through and just break it down a little bit for you. So first of all is this section when you first walk in. And this is a table standing, or a standing height table, so I can stand and work at this table. And I usually do all my die cutting and my, if I'm trimming down paper, at this table. And sometimes if I don't feel like sitting to craft, then I'll kind of move stuff around and then use this table surface to do my actual crafting. I have some hooks here on the side of it, and that's where I keep my heat guns. One of them is my main embossing tool, the Milwaukee, and then the Ranger heat tool is what I like to use when I'm doing any kind of art journaling and just drying paint and stuff like that. And then directly underneath of this table, I have all of these 12 by 12 drawers that I think I got at Target or Walmart. I've had them for quite some time. I've accumulated a lot of the stuff in this space over, more than 10 years, and I've just kind of gotten new stuff and changed things out until I've gotten it to a point that works for me. So these drawers kind of hold kind of like this. These are just wood stamps that I keep in these top couple drawers. Then I have just a whole bunch of random inks and stuff that I don't use on a regular basis, but I do like to have right beside me. These are all my mini distress inks in their cases, and just a random assortment of ink tools and some extra foams. This is all of my large size ink pads, distress inks, and then the foams in the back. So I keep them all labeled, and then I can just easily push them to see what color I'm looking for. So that seems to work. This is just random 12 by 12 paper. This is just some odds and ends, like some extra cloths. I love these things. I get these at IKEA for like $1.40, and they're great for paint and stuff. I actually keep a couple hanging directly in here. I have a hook under this table, and I just hang them in there and just grab them whenever I need them. So they're really, really handy to have. And then I just have an assortment of like doilies and envelopes and stuff like that. And then this bottom drawer is just an assortment of some cardstock and pattern paper pieces from when I've created stuff. Then in the center area, I just have a couple of crapper hoppers with 12 by 12 pattern papers, and then just some random supplies that I just kind of stick in there because I have the space. On this side here, I'll start at the top, I just have a drawer full of random embellishments. I don't tend to use a lot of embellishments, so I don't really have a lot of them, so they kind of fit well in these type of drawers. Then I just have an assortment of stickers. Some of these are super old, but they're really great for my planner and stuff. And my daughter uses her planner and comes in here and just pulls these drawers out and takes them right to her room to kind of create in her planner. This is a button drawer. This is all just my favorite things buttons. I keep them in these little tiny containers that I got at the dollar store, and I just add a label to the back with my label maker, and they perfectly fit 4 across and 4 deep. So I get 16 of these in one of these drawers. So it's a fantastic way to store buttons. Then this is just full of gems and stuff like that. Then in this drawer, this is kind of my planner drawer. This is where I keep all of my extra covers and stuff like that for my planners. Yeah, there's a lot. It's kind of ridiculous. And then this is my 6x6 paper pads that I have in excess. And then this is just random different foil papers and Be Creative sheets and stuff like that. This has some random felt and different things. And then this drawer here just has my laminating pouches and more random paper type products. So that's kind of what I keep contained in these drawers. I generally keep them the same, but every once in a while I'll kind of switch out what I keep in them. But they work perfectly, and they fit under that desk. and that's kind of the key in my space, is that I utilize every single piece of space that I have to be able to have a lot more in the space than it looks like I have. So then if you come this way, you come to my actual desk. Now this desk is probably at least 15 years old. I've had it forever. I bought it when I lived in a completely different apartment and needed something in the corner. So it's a corner desk that actually starts right here. This is the first part of the desk, and then it comes completely across to right here. And then I had my husband, he actually screwed this bookshelf into the side of the desk, so it's all completely one piece. But the corner desk works perfect when you have limited space and kind of have to work into the corner. So, and it has all these like different compartments and all these different little cubby hole things that I have found containers that fit in, and they work perfectly to store stuff. Now the tabletop is definitely seen it as, it definitely has wear on it. You can definitely see that it's, you know, not beautiful by any means, but I kind of love that because I create on here with anything and everything, and I never worry that I'm gonna wreck a piece of furniture. I just let myself do what I want, and I kind of just, I'm just okay with it. You know, it's fine. If I put tape on it, or if I, you know, get ink on it or whatever, I'm not like panicking that I'm wrecking something, because it's seen the love. So I don't mind that at all. So I could never replace this, I don't think, until I have a dedicated space, just because I need all of the little spots that I kind of store stuff. So kind of to show you around, I'll kind of pull up my chair here and just kind of jump around this area. So I have this little plastic case here, and this I actually use to store new release product, design team stuff, and different things that I have to use. So I kind of keep it in this. So we'll kind of turn that around because I think there's stuff in it. And then I also have this. This is just my video camera cord. It's just kind of hanging in the way there. I have one of these containers here that I first saw on Jennifer McGuire's blog, and I loved it, so I ordered it a few years ago now, and I just keep all of my most used tools in here. So like my scissors, and a lot of scissors. I have many different kinds for some reason. All my glue pens and stuff like that, and then my adhesives. This is the adhesive I used to use right here, the Tombow stamp runner, and I liked it, but it's a very big and bulky adhesive, and I ended up finding that they have this one, which I think is the exact same adhesive that comes in that pink one, but you don't have like the stamping part of it, which I'd never used anyway. So I've switched over and am pretty much using this on a regular basis now. So I'm really enjoying that. And then I just have my powder tool and all that kind of stuff. So just random materials that I use all the time. Then I have my little powder tool for my embossing when I want to do embossing. That keeps the embossing powder kind of controlled. And then I just have a little cute chevron bowl in the back there that I got, I think, from Target, and I just keep some random supplies sitting in that. Then I kind of shift along here, and this little basket, sorry, this cord is kind of in the way, has like my most used tools that I reach for constantly, which is like my T-square ruler, my scoring board, my shim for my Big Shot, stuff like that. So it's got rulers and just all that type of material in it. This one here is full of adhesives. There is all kinds of random junk in here. There's foam adhesives, glue dots, some replacement stuff, just whatever. I just fill it till it won't fill anymore and push it in there. This one here just has some paperwork stuff and just random different things like that. This is washi tape and micropore tape and painter's tape and all that kind of stuff. This is surprisingly all of my washi tape. I don't have a ton of it. I don't really use it that often, and I tend to only use it as a tape, so I don't really use it to decorate a lot of things, so I don't have a ton of it. Then immediately above this area here, sorry I'm a little bit close, but I can't reach and kind of get back far enough. This has archival inks in the one drawer. I have Memento Luxe inks in another drawer. This drawer up here has a bunch of random inks. There's my whites and StazOns and stuff like that. I have my sponge applicators and stuff up there. This is a fridge bins turned sideways that I have full of 6x6 paper pads. So 2 rows that go straight to the back, and that's kind of how I keep those. And then I just keep some random stuff up top, more paper pads that don't fit that I just kind of got and haven't really put away yet, and I just kind of threw up top. Then when we come to the center area, I have a light that I keep above my desk for when I want to just have over my desk lighting. Then I have a couple of containers that sit beside. I just have random stuff like Perfect Pearls and just this is just all random stuff, just whatever I can throw in there. And then I have a couple of fake plants from IKEA because those are the kind I need if I want them to actually be alive looking. I'm not really that great with plants. So moving down, I have this ink storage container, and this is from Organize More. And it's full almost completely of My Favorite Things dye inks. They are one of my favorite dye inks. And I use them on a regular basis, so I keep them right in front of me so I can always access them. And then in the very bottom row, I keep all of my most used black ink. So I have Archival, my Versamark, which isn't a black ink, but it's a most used ink, my Tuxedo Black, my Favorite Things Hybrid, and then my Onyx Black VersaFine ink. These I reach for constantly, so I keep them right in front of me so that I always have them at and can grab them whenever I need them. And then directly beside this area here, I have this little, this used to hold CDs, I think. It had little black pieces in it that kind of held the CDs. I ripped all of those out, and these Hero Arts background stamps fit perfectly in here. I used to have this full to the top, but I ended up purging some of them and getting rid of some that I don't use. And above those, I just keep all of my Nina Solar White cardstock that I've had pre-cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I keep a big stack of it here so I can just easily reach for it. And then I just have a whole ton of Prima jewels that go with paper dolls that recently came out. Then I have just my desk, and then my computer just sits there. Directly underneath this little piece, it's kind of like a little, it's got a little space, and like I said, I use every space. This is just a basket full of random cards that I've created and I need to photograph or whatever, and then my MISTI tool just sits right beside there, so I can just grab that when I need it. Then over here, I have another area that has lots of space. So this is full, these containers here are full of all of my Simon Says Stamp and Hero Arts shadow inks. These are probably my most used inks aside from my Favorite Things inks, and I like to have them right beside me where I can grab them. I don't have the space to have something like this for all my inks, so I have to utilize what I have, so this works for the space that I have. And then on this side here, I just have more inks. This is my Favorite Things pigment inks. And then I have some more random stuff in here, some extra pads for my MISTI, my most favorite glitter paper in the whole wide world from Cosmo Cricut that I think might be discontinued. Love the stuff, and we'll probably never use it because I'll be so scared to run out. And then this drawer down here just has random adhesives and my vellum and scratch paper for when I want to do some inking and stuff and just need some regular typing paper. And then just above that, I just keep my 2 of my foam roll tapes. One of them is the Scotch, and then one is duct tape. And then my Fiskars paper trimmers under there, which I don't use very often. I use it when I specifically need it for some type of thing that my tonic trimmer doesn't do, which is back over to this space on this desktop, which I think I missed when I went around. I keep my tonic here. This is the, I don't think you can get this large size any longer, but this is by far my favorite paper trimmer. And then I just keep my Big Shot right beside it, my baby wipes, which this is an old container I think I had from like Walmart, but I use Kirkland baby wipes and I just refill this container with them. And then I have another OttLite directly right there. And then we won't even look out that window because all you see is snow, snow, snow. And we don't even want to look at that anymore. So that's this space here. And then directly in between the top of it and then the bottom area, I have these 3 little spots here, and I got these baskets I think at the dollar store, and they fit perfectly in these little spots. And they just, this is all my acrylic blocks. They just have random, this one here is tools, my paint spritzer thingy, my wire snippers, some bigger scissors. Apparently I have a lot of scissors, and just stuff like that. And then this one here is just random things that I just kind of don't know where to put them, so I throw them in there. And I keep the cord from my light tucked in here when I'm not using it, which I have 2 lights, one right on this side, and then I have one directly across on this side, which I have for filming. And the camera that's in my hand is usually mounted to this thing here. I'll try and just kind of show you underneath. My husband just put these little bracket things on here, and then we just bought a monopod mount, and it just slides straight in there, and then the camera hooks directly to the end and points straight down at my desktop for when I shoot my videos. The lighting, still haven't got that down. I got these 2 lights, and I've tried a million gazillion different type of light bulbs, but I still find I have a lot of not so much shadows, but you can really see the light reflecting like on the mat and stuff when I'm videotaping. So any recommendations on that would be appreciated, because I just can't get it to how I want it. And then above here I have a bunch of these cubbies from Studio 3, I think is the name. I'll have them linked below. But these are just got all my Copic markers, my Wink of Lunas and my Wink of Stellas, and then my glitter Wink of whatever the heck those ones are called. I can't remember. They're like the thin ones. Oh, they're still the Wink of Stella. They're just the thin fine tip ones. And then I have my Memento markers. I have a bunch of those. All my distress markers sit up here, and then I just have like some random paper pens and stuff like that. I have a ink tool up top that keeps more of my ink blending tools. And then I have a basket that sits up here that just keeps extra supplies or stuff that I have extra of that I use for giveaways and whatever I can keep in there. And then past that space we have my bookshelf. And this is where I keep all of my stamps and my dies. So I have these containers that I got, I think, at a department store originally, but I know you can get them on Amazon. And luck was on my side, because these things here, I don't know if you can tell, but they kind of groove together at the top and bottom. So they kind of latch into each other. And then when I put 3 of them together, they fit perfectly on this bookshelf. Like they go from one end straight to the other end, and they fit perfectly. And because they're hooked together, when you pull out one, you pull out the whole entire row. And I love these. They're perfect for stamps, and they're perfect for dies. And I think I have like 15 of them on this bookshelf. So you get so much packed into these and don't even realize how much space you're getting to use up by having these on here. So I love them. And then if I go down further, right in front of this, I'm just going to back up. My Raskog cart is kind of just sitting there. I usually store this on the other corner of the bedroom, just in kind of an open space that I have beside the dresser, because I don't like it sitting out kind of like this in the room. But it's on wheels, so it's easily moved. This is just full of all my color mediums and like my Tim Holtz tissue tape, and then I have a ton of sprays and random things in there. And then this is paints, and these new paints here from, who are these by? I don't know who they're by, but they're really, really great. I love these things. They're like they have like a shimmer to them. They're beautiful. But anyway, so I keep stains in there and random stuff like that. And then if I go down, I have all my Prisma pencils. I have my big brush markers from Faber-Castell. I have sprays and stuff in there. I have random supplies in here, baskets and randomness that's in here. And then at the very bottom, I have spatulas and tools for embossing, some foils. I have my some random different sharpeners and rubber cement, and like another little basket. I have the plastic cleaner thing for my Misty, some extra bottles of glossy accents. All of my gelatos are down here, as well as some tools and credit cards and stuff. Not credit cards, gift cards that have been used up that I keep to use for embossing paste, so I love that. And then on the back of this thing, if I turn it around, I also have my swatch book, and this is a book that I created. Let me just throw it up here. I share this in a different video. It's just my swatch book with all my inks and stuff and embossing powders and everything, and I just keep that all in this little binder, which happens to perfectly match my Raskog, and I just keep that tucked in there so that whenever I'm using coloring mediums and stuff, which are mainly in this cart, I have all of the swatches right in there. So if we move this out of the way, you can see the rest of the bookshelf, and it's just got the rest of my stamp storage, and then this is a bunch of dies. So this has a whole bunch of dies from a bunch of different companies. All of my paper dolls are in these 2 rows. I probably have way more than I need, but I love them and I love to create with them. So I have a ton of those in there. And then at the very bottom, I have just a container. These are from IKEA. I love these. This is just full of envelopes. This one here is all of my stencils, so I keep them sorted and stored in there. This container here is for all my well, my Tim Holtz stencils are stuck in here, and I have a stamp set that I didn't put away, but this is for all of my larger stamps that don't fit into these containers up here. And what I do with my larger stamps is I just use these pockets from Tim Holtz. They are meant to go into his binder system that he has, but I don't use the binder. I just use the pockets, which look like this, and they perfectly hold the 6x8 stamp sets, and they're super firm. Like there's no problem. I love them. And so any of my big size stamp sets I keep in here and then just kind of sort them all through here. And then in the back I have larger pockets that hold like all my Diane Reevely and Stampers Anonymous bigger sets. So I keep all that kind of squished in there. And then I also have just a container underneath of this which has some molds and stuff for ice resin and polymer clay and stuff like that. So just stuff I don't use all the time, so I just kind of keep it contained down there. And then, sorry, I'm almost done. Let me just push this back. And then actually underneath of here, before we get too far, this is under my desk. So like I said, there's not much area that doesn't get used. So under here I have all of my 12 by 12 Cropper Hopper paper files. Most of them are holding 8.5 by 11 paper, but I haven't fully replaced them out. I'm kind of replacing them all with these white ones that from IKEA. This is all my Neenah full-size cardstock, and then this is any of my specialty paper like Desert Storm and Simon Says Stamp Wood Grain, Ranger specialty paper, all that kind of stuff that's just kind of still not really cardstock, but it's specialty type paper. Then in the middle area I have these 3 containers. I have a container at the very top that's full of, sorry, I'm kind of under the desk here, that's full of background stamps. And then I have these 3 containers. They are full of all my Christmas stamps, as well as just a bunch of stamps that are extra that I don't have anywhere to put because my bookshelf is kind of full. So I keep them in there and they're easily accessible and I can see in them and see what's in them. Then I have a couple of containers there. They just hold all my glitter paper. Is my 6x6 glitter papers in the top one, and then extra dies and stuff are in the bottom. And then I have this large plastic thing here, and on the top of it I just have one of these containers. I love these lock and lock Sterilite containers. This is full of stickles, and then I have some buttons in a container at the bottom there. This is just random stuff that I have in here. This one here is my embossing powders, and these are more of the lock and lock Sterilite containers. I use these for everything. I love them. So I have a bunch of those stacked up with my clear and white because I use those a lot. I have all my paper tray ink cubes in this one here because they fit perfectly. You get a ton of them in this little case here. And then I just have stamp storage pockets and stuff in the back so that I can easily grab those when needed. And then this top drawer is just it's just random extra stuff. There's adhesive refills, there's batteries for my label maker, there's extra glue refill. Like it's just extra stuff and refills and like the little spoons and stuff like that that I kind of keep there. And then directly beside that I have this smaller, skinnier area that I bought these white, I think these are from probably Target or Walmart too, and I bought these to put in this space because they fit perfectly. So I have a little bit of space on the side that I just keep extra whatever random stuff. And then in these things here I keep, this one has embossing folders, my diffuser plate, stuff like that. It has some of my sequins and stuff, and then some random small stamps. The top one up here has all of my sequins. I get 3 of the containers in here perfectly. So I have my seed beads and then a couple of sequins at the top. And you can see like they stack perfectly inside there. And then the bottom drawer set feature, this one here has all of my 6x6 note, or my Hero Arts note cards. It has a bunch of Tim Holtz watercolor paper. It has more Neenah cut down cardstock to replenish above when I run out. Random envelopes, just paper supplies. I love these for any type of note cards, standard size, because they fit perfectly in here. So this is a great little drawer unit, and they all just stack on top of each other, so I love that. And then the very bottom one just holds these things here, which are all my wood. So I have all of my wood embellishments. I have 2 of the smaller size ones, and then I have 2 of the larger, which hold my potty people, which if you know me, you know I love these. I create cards with them. And I have one that's fully full of men and then one that's fully full of women. So I have a ridiculous amount of them and we'll probably never run out, but I like having them. And these just fit perfectly standing up in this drawer, so it's just another great way to store stuff in there. So that's under my desk, and I showed you the bookshelf beside my desk and my Raskog. And then the last thing in this area of my room is my Alex drawers. And these are a newer addition. I got these, I think, last summer. And I love having them because they take up so little space and they hold so much stuff. So in the very top of this, I have another fridge bins, and this is only my favorite things products. Since I design with the products so often, I like to have everything kind of right where I need it. I have them separated so I know kind of what's where, and I have a little bit more in a different thing, but this is my most used product from them, so I keep it right where I can grab it, pull this container right over to where I'm working. And then I just have all of these drawers. I'll show you quickly kind of what I have. This is just embossing paste and random, there's whatever these are called, gilding flakes, there's some glues and stuff like that, but that's mainly embossing paste. Then I have embossing powders, and these are the same lock and lock containers that I use for my other stuff. They're all labeled and have everything in them there. Then I just have more embossing powders in there. This is my watercolor drawer that I love. It's got my big set of watercolors. It's got my Inktense pencils. It's got my Peerless, my Hero Arts color wheel, any type of watercolors, my watercolor crayons. I kind of keep all that in one drawer together. And then I missed a drawer. This one here has paint, more of these plastic containers from the dollar store that I use for my buttons. Has Faber-Castell pencils and stuff in there, paint brushes. All my Twinkling H2Os are in this container. I have random Fantastics and random tools and water brushes. And then just, this is glitter. There's like all different types of glitter that sits here. This drawer is just kind of a mismatch of some Sizzix and Tim Holtz big dies that I keep at the back. And then the front just has random stuff that I usually like to use in art journaling. So it's just got bigger size paper pads and paper towels and stuff that I tend to pull out when I want to art journal. This is just a drawer full of cards that I've made. This here is full of ribbon. I keep my extra magnetic sheets from Ellen Hudson in here that I use for die storage. And then this just has some ribbon and some twine and thread. This is my ribbon, all of it. I don't tend to use ribbon very much on cards. I'm too particular about stuff looking perfect, so I'm not really a ribbon user. This bottom drawer is just tools, so there's just random tools and stuff in there. And then that pretty much completes the space. I do have some random stuff stored in a closet, like 12 by 12 iris containers that have a bunch of different things in them. And I do have scrapbook galores kind of tucked away because I don't tend to really scrapbook much anymore. But as far as my creating space and my storage and my supplies, this is pretty much what I have, what I use. I utilize the space that I have, and I constantly change and evolve it till it gets to a point that really works for me. I think I'm kind of there. I think this is, I don't really see me doing much more change to the space because I think I finally got it to a point where all the space is being used, and I really love the setup, and I can easily get what I need when I need it. So I hope you enjoyed this video of my craft area. I apologize for the length of it, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.